Are you saying that Gu Chengxiao does not like women, but instead likes? Yes, it is absolutely true. Father, you didn't see it. Today at Moxuan Pavilion, Gu Chengxiao disregarded everyone's gaze and stood up to protect Lu Wenxuan. He was so commanding, and Lu Wenxuan too, disregarding his own safety, protected Gu Chengxiao. It was so touching. Zhaohua, did you go pestering Gu Chengxiao today, and when he ignored you, you got so angry you started talking nonsense? Father, I already don't like Gu Chengxiao anymore. Please, Father, grant them a marriage decree. Matters of marriage are for one's parents to decide. Why are you meddling in the Giyu family's business? Father, if you don't grant the decree now, Gu Chengxiao's father is going to force him to marry Lin Shuang. Father, can you bear to break up two lovers? It is the Giyu family's private business. You are an unmarried princess. Why are you meddling in it? How improper. Since father won't grant the marriage decree, then I will find another way myself. Fu Hai, send someone to inquire about what exactly happened today at Moya Pavilion. Yes, your majesty. Consort Xian, do you know about Gu Shizi and Lu Wenxuan? You child, stop spouting nonsense. Remember, you must sing his praises properly. Understand? Yes, princess. We shall remember, your highness. That Lu Wenxuan is a useless fool who only makes matters worse. I gave him a large sum of money to buy that courtesan's freedom and take her in as a seamstress for the Giyu family, keeping her under our control. Who would have thought this fool couldn't even handle a simple task like that, and even ended up implicating my dear Chengxiao, damaging his reputation? Aunt, the most pressing matter now is to quickly arrange a marriage for Big Brother with the young lady of the Lin household. Once Big Brother is married, the rumors will naturally collapse on their own. That magistrate Lin has now been demoted to a vice minister of the Ministry of Revenue. Marrying someone like that, a woman who provides no help, is of no benefit whatsoever to your Big Brother's career. On the contrary, he would be dragged down. I absolutely will not agree to this. Aunt, Princess Zhaoyang is not to be underestimated. A girl without a mother's guidance, relying on the Emperor and Empress Dowager's favor, she is just a wild girl. What could be so complicated about her? She dared to scheme against your Big Brother. Isn't that just because of this special favor? If she were a princess who didn't have their favor, would she dare to treat you like this, aunt? Then we must find a way to make the Emperor and Empress Dowager loathe and abandon her. Second in command, you're here. What is wrong with you? We're short on funds. Hey, it is not that we're short on funds. It is that we're short on manpower, short on money. I, the princess, can help. But when it comes to a shortage of people, there is nothing I can do. How about we open a bit later? That won't do. We must take advantage of the buzz surrounding Gu Chengxiao and Lu Wenxuan before it dies down. I know all about what you did in the palace. We're even. After I left that day, what did you get up to at Moya Pavilion? Ha ha ha. Well, things have come to this. If I don't do something, it wouldn't be right. Do you all want to know what happens next with young Master Giyu and the others? Yes. In a few days, my Chunfeng Pavilion will be opening. If you all want to hear the rest, you are welcome to come and watch. But isn't the Chunfeng Pavilion a brothel? We are scholars. You guys are so silly. If I, a princess, were really opening a brothel so openly, wouldn't the emperor have punished me long ago? What I'm opening is a proper theater, the only one of its kind in the entire capital. Hey, don't you think young Master Go went there? We'll know once we go and see. The good-for-nothing princess is actually opening a theater. I'd like to go and see it. Let's go. Let's head back to the manor. Ha ha ha. Oh, by the way, what kind of people are we still missing? We need someone who can write scripts. Every respectable family in the capital is filled with prominent, upstanding people. What kind of refined young man would abandon his proper study of the classics just to write trashy stories? Yanxiang, I think I know who can write scripts. Who? Xie Huaizhou. Who is Xie Huaizhou? You even got into a fight with him before. I am a county princess, gentle and adorable, easy to get along with. I wouldn't even hurt an ant. How could possibly fight with anyone? Don't you go spreading rumors? Are you sure that the one you're talking about is me? So, are we going to find this Xie Huaizhou now? But this Xie Huaizhou doesn't write stories anymore. Why not? I heard his father thought Xie Huaizhou was being idle and lazy, ignoring his studies of the sages. To write these scripts, he called them unrefined garbage. So in a fit of rage, he took all of his manuscripts and burned them all in a fire. Is his father insane? How did writing stories hurt him? Exactly. Ever since then, Xie Huaizhou had a falling out with his father. He stopped studying altogether. He spends all day on the streets, goofing off, getting into fights. Besides your father in the capital, he is the biggest delinquent of them all. Among the capital's troublemakers, neither of us even made the list. Ye Qiang, are you even listening to this princess properly? My apologies. Please go on. Latter, his mother gave birth to another son, Grand Tutor Xi's attention is entirely on his youngest son. So how could he care about Xie Huaizhou, since his father doesn't care about him anymore? Don't you worry, leave it to me. I'll definitely get him to come and write plays for our Spring Breeze Pavilion. Whether or not you can get him is up to you. What? You don't trust me? Hey Ye Qiang, the flower viewing banquet is almost here. What have you prepared for the Empress Dowager? It is a secret. What? Is it some ancestral heirloom again? Ha ha ha. Have you heard? That Commandery Princess Zhaoyang demoted Lord Lin from Minister of Revenue straight to Vice Minister. That is not all. I heard that not long ago, she went to Grand Tutor Xi's estate, made a huge scene, and snatched away that good-for-nothing playboy of his. Now he spends all day hanging around Spring Breeze Pavilion, loudly spreading the tales of Prince Gu and a scholar. I look so beautiful. Why do I feel like everyone is staring at me? Hemp, do you know why they're staring at you? Jealous of my beauty. You, during this time, you've offended quite a few officials lately. The way they're looking at you, they're definitely plotting right now how to, in front of the Empress Dowager, whisper poison in her ear. Surely they don't all want to do me in, do they? I am, after all, a favored princess. From now on, I'll teach you these things. Just treat me like your mother. Get lost. I don't have an unfilial son like you. I'm not kidding with you. You not only have a grudge against the third princess, but you've also offended the Gue family. They're surely not going to let you off easy today. Am I scared of them? Think back to the last flower viewing banquet. That third princess is not someone to mess with, no matter what she says to you later. Don't make a move, you hear me? Don't worry, I'll only use my mouth, not my hands. How about you? Keep your mouth shut too. You traitor. You actually want me to be a punching bag. Who is a traitor? You are. My good intentions are wasted on you. I'm not talking to you anymore. You motherless wild child. You're not good at anything from music to calligraphy. How do you get so many people to like you? What was the meaning of that gesture you just made? I was just greeting him. I don't believe a word of it. Qingyu, see that? Over at Princess Zhaoyang's side, the third princess will take the lead. We just need to sit back and watch them fight. After you, Aunt. Empress Dowager. This is a gold-rimmed ink chrysanthemum from Penglai. What a fine gold-rimmed ink chrysanthemum. Its quality is truly rare. You are very thoughtful, Lady Gi. It is the great fortune of the Empress Dowager that allows us to see so many rare flowers. Imperial Grandmother, your granddaughter has also prepared a flower for you. I have seen countless flowers in my time, but I have never seen one that blends the luster of coral with the vibrancy of a peony so perfectly. You are very thoughtful, Ying'er. Reward her. If Imperial Grandmother likes it, that is your granddaughter's greatest blessing. Imperial Grandmother, I hear that younger sister Zhaoyang is the most filial of us all. I am sure that today, younger sister, you must have also prepared an extraordinary flower, right? Ye Xiong, I wasn't wrong, was I? This Ye Ying is definitely up to no good. Do you or do you not have a flower prepared for Imperial Grandmother? Do you want one of my flowers? I can lend you one to save face. No need. Her fake flowers aren't even fit to carry the shoes of my fresh flowers. Zhaoyang, since your older royal sister has said so, go ahead and present the flower you brought. Let me have a look, and let everyone here enjoy it too. Of course I am the most filial. Third sister, you should really be more attentive to Imperial Grandmother in your daily life. You only ever give things that look nice but are useless. Jixiang, bring it out. This fragrance. After smelling it, my headache has actually disappeared. The fragrance of this flower has actually relieved the tightness in my chest. It has almost completely dissipated. The fragrance of this flower actually has such miraculous effects. What kind of flower is it exactly to have such an effect just by smelling it? Could it be that you used some sort of evil incense, perhaps? Your Majesty, the origin of this flower is unknown, and its effects are so strange. The whole situation is just too bizarre. We must be cautious. Zhaoyang certainly wouldn't harm the Empress Dowager, but one can never be sure. If these two from Prince Duan's estate, who aren't exactly the brightest, haven't been manipulated by someone else, summon the Imperial Physician. This is a legendary miraculous flower. Your Majesty, the fragrance of this flower calms the mind and spirit, clears the meridians, and has the effect of regulating blood flow and prolonging life. Imperial Physician Zhang, you recognize this flower? In reply to the Empress Dowager, this old servant does not recognize this flower, but according to vague mentions in ancient texts, it seems related to a highly secretive sect in the martial arts world. Legend has it that this sect has for generations guarded some of the rarest mystical herbs and flowers in the world, capable of bringing the dead back to life. It is just that their traces are elusive and impossible for common folk to find. Could it be from Zhaoyang's mother? Zhaoyang, what is the name of this flower? Back in the apocalypse, all the plants were mutated varieties. How would I know what this is called? His Majesty is speaking to you. Mixie Bingshang. Mixi Bingshang. This name is chosen perfectly. The name suits the flower, and the flower matches the name. They complement each other perfectly. The name is simple and easy to understand, yet possesses a profound artistic quality. Only a name as elegant as this could be worthy of such a legendary miraculous flower. Imperial uncle, imperial grandmother. So, what about my reward? Excellent. I shall certainly reward you handsomely. Zhaoyang, now that you have entered the court as an official, I hereby promote you to the 6th rank, Commander-in-Chief of the Capital Inspection. Anyone involved in corruption, disturbance, or illegal acts may be arrested on the spot and report directly to me without need for hesitation. Your Majesty, Yi Xiang. She, a mere woman. How can she serve as an official? Is she an idiot? With me as a precedent, in the future, if they want to serve, won't it be much easier? So what if she is a woman? If you're jealous that Youqiang can be an official, then you should also bring the Empress Dowager a pot of flowers that can prolong life. If you can't figure out why a woman can be an official, go back and look in the mirror, and you'll understand. Why would looking in the mirror help me understand? Look in the mirror, and she'll realize that her cerebellum is underdeveloped, and her cerebrum never developed at all. Yi Shang's mouth didn't just consume arsenic, it is that a mouth grew on the arsenic. Ye Xiang, how dare you insult me? I didn't. I wasn't. Don't spout nonsense. Ye Xiang, you motherless, wild child. How dare you? Insolent. What did you just say? Presumptuous. As a princess, how could you utter such foul words? It seems to me that you've been pampered to the point of being lawless. If I do not punish you today, would you not simply turn everything upside down? Guards, lock the 3rd princess in the Imperial Clan Court. I take my revenge from morning to night. Did you just, on purpose, deliberately provoke him? You're not too slow, at least. Can you be serious? Host, do you remember the Little Imperial Grandson? Where is my little nephew? I don't know. I didn't see him at the banquet just now. Do you know where Yi Moxuan is? Why are you looking for him? Did the Crown Prince offend you? You're looking for his son, obviously to go play with him. You are looking for a 6-year-old child. To do what? Can't I care about my juniors? No. Why is this person getting angry? I was wrong, okay? Don't you want to know where Yi Moxuan is? I'll tell you. The Crown Prince, for some unknown reason, sent the Little Imperial Grandson off to study at the Imperial Study. If I remember correctly, the Little Imperial Grandson should have been going to the Imperial Study to study anyway, right? Let me tell you, this Little Imperial Grandson is really strange. He hasn't liked interacting with people since he was little. The Empress had no choice, so she hired a tutor for the Little Imperial Grandson to go to the Crown Prince's residence to teach him. But now, the Crown Prince has suddenly sent the Little Imperial Grandson to the Imperial Study. Don't you find it strange? Strange. But the Crown Prince never used to care about his son at all. Was the Little Imperial Grandson picked up somewhere? Of course not. The Crown Prince had his heart set on a wandering woman from the outside and only treated the Crown Princess with cold politeness. But the Crown Princess was desperate to secure her favor and plotted to drug him, tricking the prince into spending the night with her. That is how she conceived the Little Imperial Grandson. But who knew that ever since then, the prince began to loathe the Crown Princess, and by extension the Little Imperial Grandson. He grew to loathe him as well, and the Crown Princess believed that it was because of the Little Imperial Grandson's arrival that the prince hated her. So she too was very cold to the Little Imperial Grandson. What a pair of lunatics. So you also think the crown prince is at fault. If he really loved that woman from the outside, he should have called off the engagement with the crown princess, or simply brought that woman home as his wife. But he had neither the guts to defy royal authority, nor the courage to abandon everything in the palaces to pursue the woman he loved. He wanted the power, and he also wanted to live out his days with the woman he loved. How can you have everything in this world? So, between the crown prince and the crown princess, who is actually in the wrong? They're both crazy. Such a good kid. Driven to autism by those two. That crazy man and woman. Yashang, I'll go with you. Let's go find the little imperial grandson to play. The one squatting on the ground is the crown prince's son. Then who is that? The second prince's son, Yi Moken. This brat has never been well behaved. He is used to bullying others with his status, and no one dares to stop him. You'd better not provoke him. Consort D is extremely overprotective. Hey Yi Moxuan, what are you doing here? Your Highness, how about we go play somewhere else? He is the imperial grandson after all. This just feels like just a peek. Imperial brother, let me see. What kind of book are you actually reading? Stop right there. Why must you insist on reading someone else's book? Where is your own? Mind your own business. Or I'm telling the Empress Dowager, if you shout one more word, I'll shove you right into this lotus pond. You wouldn't dare. The Empress Dowager won't let you get away with it. Princess Zhaoyang, I was wrong. Can't do that. The mood is already set. If I put you back on the ground now, how would I save face? Princess, I was wrong. I won't ever do it again. I was wrong. Hey, yeah, Shang, maybe we should just throw him in a tree. If we throw him in the water and he gets sick, that wouldn't be good. Are these two ladies actually demons? If you cry again, I'll rip your tongue out. Want some? Go beat him up. And this candy is yours. Didn't you say you came to play with the little prince? Isn't this playing? Tricking someone into a fight. You call that playing? If you don't like it, then I'll eat it myself. I really want some. It looks so delicious. They're totally demons. Want some? If you want it, go beat him up. Wow, Yi Qiang, what is this? It is so delicious. It smells so good. Is there more? I want more. Want more. That is the spirit. Next time, if someone bullies you again, you strike back like this. If you can win, you must strike back. If you can't win, you run away immediately. Find someone who can win and have them strike back for you. Do you understand? Don't let anyone bully you ever again. Do you hear me? I want some too. I want some too. I want some. It is all gone. You, this candy of yours, did you buy it in the capital? Where did you buy this? They don't sell these in the capital. These were gifted to me by the Buddha. Are you kidding me? You don't believe me. Check my sleeves. See, nothing, right? These really were gifted by the Buddha. I just asked the Buddha, and they said if you truly wish to repent, you shall be granted these lollipops. But if you continue your wicked ways, you will be cast into hell. They'll throw you into boiling oil, toss you into fire, and whip you. We know we were wrong. We will never bully people again. Saying it isn't enough. You have to let the Buddha see your sincerity. Then how can we let the Buddha see our sincerity? Do you know why the Buddha gifted so many treats to me and not to you? Why? The Buddha heard everything you just said. They said you have a karmic connection with the Buddha, so I am to share these candies with you. It is good. It is so good. You must not tell anyone about what happened today. Do you understand? Ye Qiang, you're truly wicked. Where on earth did you run off to? Your Highness, I'll leave the little prince with you. My sister and I are leaving the palace. What is it? Are you clinging to me now? Let go quickly. I've already brought you home. Don't push your luck. Zhaoyang, you are the first person this child has been willing to approach. Why don't you take him with you to Prince Duan's estate? It is rare for the little prince to be so attached to you. Zhaoyang, since this child likes you so much, why don't you take him to your estate for a few days? Aunt, I don't know how to look after children. Besides, I'm very busy. Zhaoyang, this is just a small token of my appreciation. Are you testing me with this? Although I am busy, however, the people at my estate are very attentive. We will definitely take good care of the little prince. Good. I knew that you, Zhaoyang, have the kindest heart. Your Imperial Highness, your grandson is coming to stay. Stay at my estate for a few days. Did you threaten him? How could possibly threaten him? Am I that kind of person? Uncle, you saw it yourself, right? Your grandson insisted on clinging to me. Schwaner, Kayal. Since he likes you so much, then let him stay at Prince Duan's manor for a few days. If I'm looking after your grandson, you have to compensate me. We're family, why talk about compensation and such? Imperial uncle, I'm very busy. I don't have time to watch your grandson. Imperial uncle, you don't manage the household, so you don't know the cost of living. Not only do I have to run Prince Duan's manor, but I also have to support my Chunfeng Pavilion. I'm quite poor. Our Chunfeng Pavilion opens tomorrow. How about asking the Emperor to bestow a plaque upon us? Imperial uncle, why don't you bestow a plaque on my Chunfeng Pavilion to congratulate me on the opening? Father Emperor, if I had a plaque bestowed by you, business at Chunfeng Pavilion would definitely flourish. Once I earn money, I'll also show my filial piety to you. How about this? I'll bestow a plaque upon you, and you give me half of your earnings. No way. What are you thinking? These two brats. Is such a huge reaction necessary? Imperial uncle, you actually want to rob us? The two of us are so pitiable. You're going too far. Forget about not helping. You're actually eyeing my assets. If you want me to bestow a plaque, fine, tell me. Where did that potted plant you gave the Empress Dowager come from? It was passed down by my ancestors. I knew it. Not a word Yi Chung says is true. It was passed down by my grandmaster. Since when did you have a grandmaster? What is this child rambling about? There is something I've been keeping from everyone. Actually, I am the 39th generation disciple of the Monkey King of Flower Fruit Mountain. My grandmaster came to me in a dream a while ago, saying he wanted to pass his legacy to me. He even instructed me to earn money, to show my filial piety to him. From now on, all the property he left behind will be mine. My Yai Shang really has a knack for making things up. Your Majesty, won't you bestow a plaque upon us now? Fine. Since your Chunfeng Pavilion has been turned into a theater, it can be considered a respectable business. I will have someone send one over later. As for Chunfeng Pavilion, Uncle Emperor, the next time my grandmaster visits my dreams, I'll have him send me another pot of flowers to offer to you as a gift. Your Majesty, once I start making money, I'll buy you a grand estate. These two clowns, at least they're doing something constructive. It is better than them bickering over young Master Gu all day long. Haha. Fuhai. Yes, Your Majesty. Pass on my decree. Tell that scoundrel the Prince of Duan take over immediately tomorrow. The treason case of the Dingyuan Marquise's estate. Your Majesty, this case, since things are deadlocked, let those two from Prince Duan's estate go and stir things up. Divert the courtier's attention so the embroidered uniform guard has more time to uncover the truth of the matter. Tell Prince Duan's estate, those two scoundrels, give them 1 month to interrogate witnesses and evidence and clarify all points of suspicion. It is best if they get to the bottom of it. If they can't, they better stir up some noise for me. If they dare to slack off, I will have them both thrown into prison to keep the Marquis of Dingyuan company. Host, this mission rewards 45 days of lifespan. The greater the reward, the more difficult the mission is. Things that even His Majesty can't solve. Do you think we can figure out? But host, if you complete this mission, I can gain points to level up. All right. I have my own ways. Host, you are so smart. This way, not only do we not have to work hard to investigate, but we can also perfectly complete the mission and increase your lifespan. This rebellious daughter, could she be plotting something devious again? Do you want an allowance? What do you want? Do one thing for me. I'll start giving you an allowance tomorrow. How much? Depends on how you do, father. Then this prince won't do it. How about this? Every month, I'll give you 100 taels. If you do a good job, I'll even give you a bonus. How about that? This prince is dirt poor. Who do you think you're looking down on? When I go out to eat, it costs more than 100 taels. When you go out to eat, you always pay. You All these years, when you went out to eat, you never paid. When I go out to eat, others are always the ones who pay. Who buys it for you? Father, you're just too slow. When you're out and about, you should know how to make friends. I'm so well liked. I have friends everywhere. When I'm out and about, I have plenty of friends fighting to pick up the tab. If this prince remembers correctly, you've lived this long, but haven't left the capital yet, right? Where did you get all these friends everywhere? I'll make them later. I'm so popular. I'm sure I'll have plenty of friends. Father, you're this poor, and you still have the energy to worry about me making friends. Why do you think I'm this poor in the first place? Don't get angry. This prince only has one child. If I beat you to death, there will be no one left. This prince isn't interested in your 100 taels. Go find whoever you want to do that. Don't be like that. How about this? Dad, why don't you go to the palace and ask royal uncle about the matter of the Dingyuan Marquis mansion? When will that case be cleared up? You go urge his majesty. If you get it done, I'll give you 100 taels, Dad. How is that? Am I desperate for money? Take it or leave it. From now on, I won't be taking care of you in your old age. Hey. Why are you suddenly so fixated on the Dingyuan Marquis mansion case? Have you forgotten our capital inspection bureau's office building? Isn't it built right next to the Dingyuan Marquis mansion? If the Dingyuan Marquis case drags on without a resolution, wouldn't that affect the feng shui of our office? Daughter, I advise you to stop prying into that Dingyuan Marquis matter. Those old foxes in the Imperial Court can't even solve it. If we get involved, we'll end up dead pretty fast. I think you have a point. Daughter, let me tell you, your royal uncle isn't even as carefree as this prince. Look at your royal uncle. Not only does he have to handle state affairs, he also has to spend every day figuring out how to balance all the different factions, worrying that one party will be unhappy or that another will rebel. Even when he tries to sleep, he is afraid someone will assassinate him in the middle of the night. Daughter, did you know? Your imperial uncle got drunk last time and actually held on to me, sobbing and blubbering. Really? You bet. Zhaoyang, he said, tell me, look at those court officials. On the surface, they act all respectful, but behind my back, they're full of devious tricks. I order them to provide disaster relief, and they have the audacity to line their own pockets. I order them to train the troops, and they have the audacity to skim off the military pay. They're just a bunch of parasites, only looking to line their pockets. If you know that imperial uncle has such a hard life, why do you still provoke him every day? How could I be provoking his majesty? I'm just doing this so that his majesty doesn't have to spend all day being overwhelmed by those miserable court matters. I am doing this, deliberately causing some trouble to divert His Majesty's attention so he doesn't have to spend all day getting stuck in a rut and stressing himself until his hair turns white. This is called saving the nation through unconventional means. Get it? What a save the nation through unconventional means. If there are so many parasites in the court, why does Imperial Uncle still keep them around? Keeping them is both a waste of money and a headache for himself. Why bother? If my subordinates didn't listen to me, I'd beat them until they did. With those pathetic skills of yours, you want to challenge people with your fists? You know nothing of my capabilities. Sweetie, based on my experience with you, out of 10 fights, you lose 9. So, Dad thinks he understands your capabilities, is much more thorough than your own understanding. Let's have a fight. If you win, I'll give you 100 taels. If I win, I get to go a month without drinking. It is a deal. Your Highness, my lady. Wait a moment. Your Highness, my lady. His Majesty has issued a decree. Starting tomorrow, you two shall work together to investigate the case of Marquis Dingyuan's treason. Is the Emperor drunk? Why would he say such nonsense? His Majesty says you are to investigate freely. It would be best if you find the truth. But even if you can't, you must stir up some trouble. Can we really investigate this? Treason will cost many lives. Didn't the Emperor say if we can't investigate it, we should just stir up some trouble? Is it possible that the Emperor never expected us to get to the bottom of it? He just wants us to muddy the waters. So, the old foxes in the Imperial Court are pressuring the Emperor again. That is why he came up with this plan, to have us divert the officials' attention so the Imperial Guard can find more time to uncover the truth of the matter. I've decided I'll head to the Ministry of Justice tomorrow to see the Marquis of Dingyuan. The Marquis is currently locked in the dungeon. and his family is under house arrest. Do you think he'll be in the mood to chat with you? What if there is something he wants to say that he doesn't want to tell anyone else, but only wants to tell me? Didn't the emperor say, just stirring up trouble is enough? I'll head to the Ministry of Justice to stir things up first. Dad, you have a point. You go to the Ministry of Justice to chat with the Marquis, and I'll go to the Marquis's residence to chat with his wife. This is truly going too far. My daughter from the house of Dingyuan. When have we ever suffered such humiliation? The prince is clearly just taking advantage of our misfortune, deliberately debasing my daughter. Mother, I agree. The only one who can save father now is the second prince. The note said father will be murdered tomorrow and will hang himself in his cell to escape the charges. Besides begging him, we have no other choice. But that means becoming a concubine. Such degradation. How could you bear it, my daughter? Mother, compared to father's life, I am willing to suffer this grievance. I do not agree. I would rather break him out of prison, even if I have to risk my life. I will never let you go to the second prince's manor to be a concubine. At worst, we all die together. Asheng, don't be impulsive. Breaking into the prison is a death sentence. Not only will we fail to save father, but we will also implicate the entire Marquis's household. If sister goes to the second prince's manor, there is at least a glimmer of hope. But that is not a hope, it is a fiery pit. You are the legitimate daughter of the Marquis's house. How can you go and be a concubine? I cannot let you suffer such humiliation. Asheng, where are you going? I am going to strike the petition drum. Young Master Shui, where are you in such a hurry to go? What, young Master Shui? Now you're just the brat of a prisoner. Does young Master Shui still think it is like before? Or is it true that you colluded with the enemy and passed messages to enemy spies? Mu Sheng. You brat of the He family, you ungrateful beast. Back when your father died on the battlefield, you and your mother were left destitute on the streets. If the Marquis hadn't taken pity on you, you poor orphan child and widowed mother would have long since starved to death. Now you dare to inflict such cruelty upon your benefactor's grandson. Has a dog eaten your conscience? Old madam, that was then and this is now. I am acting under the emperor's orders. I know only the imperial command, not personal favors. If the young master insists on leaving, it is defying an imperial decree. Disciplining him is entirely justified. You beast, if not for our Lord Hao teaching you the art of war himself and promoting you like his own nephew, would you even be a captain today? That little bit of kindness is not worth mentioning compared to the humiliation your manner caused me back then. Old madam, do you remember when my mother and I came with generous gifts to propose, seeking to marry the eldest Miss Shui? But what was the result? Lord Shui said your daughter was unwilling and he wouldn't force her. But who didn't know that he just looked down on my He family as lowly commoners, unworthy of your noble gold and jade? Eldest Miss Sui, you looked down on me back then. How is it now? Sticking with this crumbling manner, you'll be buried with it sooner or later. Why don't you beg me if you regret it? My He household still needs a concubine. Following me is better than being here, cold and starving. What do you say? You beast, how dare you insult my daughter like this? I'll fight you to the death. You're courting death. How dare you bully my sister? Mu Sheng. Captain He, for you to humiliate my Dingyuan Marquis manor like this. I want to see if this is by the Emperor's decree, or if you are brazenly resorting to private punishment, threatening to die for it. Do you think your Marquis Dingyuan's house still has any future left? Your father won't survive. Do you think your Marquis Dingyuan's house has any chance of rising again? Captain He, His Majesty ordered us to guard the Marquis's house, forbidding anyone from entering or leaving. He did not authorize us to hurt anyone. Your behavior seems improper. Improper. You, a mere deputy captain, dare to meddle in my affairs. Don't forget, who is the commander of this Imperial Guard unit? If you dare to run your mouth again, don't blame me for using military law. Who is it? You, in Marquis Dingyuan's house, dare to harm an official. Do you have a death wish? Princess Zhaoyang, you dare to harm an imperial official? An imperial official. This princess did hurt you. So what are you going to do about it? You, princess, to be so arrogant and lawless, abusing your power to bully an imperial official. I will report this to His Majesty and have you severely punished. Go to the imperial palace and tell His Majesty that while I was acting under imperial decree to investigate the case of Marquis Dingyuan's house, I encountered this scoundrel trespassing on the estate and inflicting unauthorized torture. Can we just execute him on the spot? What? Princess, I am not inflicting unauthorized torture. I am acting under His Majesty's decree to guard Marquis Dingyuan. Just now, the young master of the Shui family trespassed on the estate, and I was merely performing my duty when I tried to stop him. I have not stepped out of line at all. Do you take me for blind? You dare lie to my face. How many lives do you think you have? Princess, have mercy. This official did not. It was that Shu family. Take this dog away. Throw him into the Ministry of Justice later. As for you all, why aren't you laughing now? Weren't you laughing quite loudly just a moment ago? Princess, have mercy. We were confused for a moment. We won't dare do it again. Drag them away. I have my own uses for them. From now on, you will take over the position of that dog just now. I will report this matter to His Majesty. Thank you for your promotion, Princess. This subordinate will certainly serve with all his heart, and will never fail the trust of His Majesty and the Princess. Thank you, Princess, for stepping in to save us. If not for you, Princess, everyone in my Shui residence would likely have suffered at the hands of that treacherous villain. This kindness, the Shui family will never forget. Princess, I feel ashamed before you. Could it be that the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate is the one that betrayed the country? Princess, my Marquis's estate has been loyal for generations. We are utterly devoted to the Imperial Court. The sun and moon are witnesses. Even if we are crushed to pieces, we would never commit such an eternal sin of treason. If this old one has spoken even half a lie, I would gladly be struck down by the heavens and have my entire family executed. Since you haven't betrayed the country, then what is it you feel ashamed of before me? Did you cheat me out of money? I have wronged you, Princess. I often saw you chasing after that young Lord Giyu to the academy. I once spoke ill of you behind your back. It was my own narrow-mindedness, judging you unfairly. I also gossip behind your back, which is unbecoming of a man. Princess, my apologies. It was I who was a fool. If they can endure it, the system cannot. Host, get them. Beat them to a pulp. I beg you, Princess, to uphold justice for the Dingyuan Marquis estate. Only you can restore justice to our estate. We have always been loyal to the Imperial Court, with no ulterior motives. Princess, please uphold justice for the Marquis estate and restore our honor. Everyone, rise. Rest assured, I will do my utmost to uncover the truth of the matter and restore your estate's honor. If you recall any clues while at the estate, or any unusual people or incidents, you must report them to me immediately. Princess, please wait. This is the note my daughter received this morning. It says that my father, while in prison, is in danger of being framed to look like he committed suicide out of guilt. I beg you, Princess, save my father. Your father will be fine. Did I not order you to investigate the case? Why are you back at the palace again? Uncle, I've already solved the case. It's only been one morning, and you've already solved it. Then tell me, did the Dingyuan Marquis estate truly commit treason or not? No. Did you find any evidence? No evidence. But I just went and asked the people at the Dingyuan Marquis estate, and they said they didn't commit treason. Is asking people all you do to investigate a case? I asked with great sincerity, and they answered with great sincerity too. So, I believe them. If you have nothing else to do, go to the signing palace and keep your grandmother company. I am busy here. No, I'm doing important work. Uncle, don't you want to know who framed the Marquis of Dingyuan? Uncle Emperor, do you want to hear the whole story of this incident? Fine, then tell me. Give me 50 taels, and I'll tell you the truth. Have you gone crazy for money? The truth I worked so hard to uncover. Is it not even worth 50 taels? Fuhai, give her 50 taels. Uncle Emperor, look here. The culprit is definitely your second son. That scoundrel. This is truly outrageous. Although the Marquis of Dingyuan's house is under house arrest, they are still my subjects. For a prince to not only show no compassion, but instead take advantage of their plight and force the Marquis's daughter to be his concubine. Such underhanded and despicable behavior is no different from a common thug. Exactly. All he thinks about all day long is this kind of mushy romance. It is completely improper, unlike me, who only cares about the court and the people. I'm busy running around every day, thinking only of how to give the people a better life and how to share your burdens, Uncle Emperor. Pass on my decree. Have that unfilial wretch brought to me. I want to ask him personally who gave him the nerve to act so lawlessly in the capital and disgrace the royal family's reputation. Exactly. So lawless. that even our ancestors wouldn't be able to sleep. Did your second imperial brother offend you? No, not at all. We're on great terms. Uncle Emperor, I really think your second son did this to force the Marquis's daughter to marry him, so he framed her father for treason and threw him in prison. Do you really think that if it were that simple, the officials in court wouldn't have figured it out? Do you really think I'm that easily fooled? Well, who is to say? Then tell me, if it wasn't your second son who did it, how did he know that tomorrow the Marquis of Dingyuan would hang himself in his cell? Is this unfilial son trying to stage a coup? Don't worry, Uncle Emperor. With me here, no one will be able to hurt you. Uncle Emperor, if your son really were planning a coup, what would you do? Would you beat them to death? Honestly, why did you have to marry so many concubines and have so many sons anyway? Look, now you can't even split the family inheritance fairly. And think of how much it costs just to raise them. My father is much smarter. I'm the only child in the Prince Duan household. No one fights me for the inheritance, and my father doesn't have to worry about anyone trying to kill him. Plus, he has a filial daughter like me to take care of him. TSK. I'm starting to envy my own father. I am not like your father. How are you different? Aren't you both the Empress Dowager's sons? Or is it that you look down on my father? Can you just keep quiet for a second? Your son greets the Emperor. I do not know why the Emperor has summoned me here in such a hurry. You still have the nerve to ask. A royal prince actually stooping to such despicable acts, forcing a marquis's daughter to be your concubine. You have brought disgrace upon the entire imperial family. Father, I didn't mean to. I was just confused for a moment. Please, father, show mercy. I am asking you, regarding the case of the Marquis of Dingyuan, was it your handiwork or not? Father, your son simply liked Miss C too much. I couldn't get what I wanted and was confused for a moment, trying to force her to submit to me. But I absolutely did not. Frame the Marquis of Dingyuan for treason. Father, please see the truth. Your son really did not. Who are you trying to kid? You clearly stated in that note, tomorrow, the Marquis of Dingyuan will commit suicide in his cell out of fear of punishment, and you still claim you've been framed. Royal father, I was just making up lies, trying to scare the people at the Marquis's estate. Who could have known? What if it turns out to be true? That is a human life we are talking about. Sister, I don't know how I have offended you to make you target me repeatedly lately. Or is it that someone has been whispering in your ear, Zhaoyang, trying to sow discord between us? Royal brother, don't bring our relationship into this. Asking me to cover for you is impossible. Second royal brother, give up on that idea. Since His Majesty has entrusted this case to me, then I will not betray His Majesty's trust. I only look at the evidence, and I will absolutely not shield anyone. Since you say you were framed, royal brother, then please produce the evidence to prove your innocence. Zhaoyang says that I am the one who framed the Marquis of Dingyuan. Do you have any proof of that? I do. I have both witnesses and physical evidence. Second royal brother, stop trying to dodge this. Confess the truth. Royal father, is this any way to investigate a case? Zhaoyang is clearly just making a scene, just based on a single note. How can she tarnish my reputation like this? I have been wronged. What do you mean I'm making a scene? I am performing my duties to investigate this case. Yet you accuse me of smearing your name. If you were acting upright and honorable, do you think I would have come after you? Second royal brother, you should stop trying to change the subject. Why not first explain to His Majesty what is written on this note? If the Marquis of Dingyuan truly dies tomorrow, how will you answer to His Majesty, Imperial brother? You will explain this to me clearly. The Marquis of Dingyuan will take his own life in prison tomorrow. What on earth is the meaning of this? Father Emperor, the words on that note were merely a moment of reckless joking on my part, with absolutely no malicious intent. I am willing to do my utmost to assist Sister Zhaoyang in thoroughly investigating this case and clearing my own name. Granted, if you haven't solved it in 1 month, do not bother coming to see me again. Imperial brother, I've gotten to the bottom of the case. Daughter, let me tell you, this time, the Duke of Ying is done for. Didn't you go to the Ministry of Justice to chat with the Marquis of Dingyuan? What does that have to do with the Duke of Ying? Did you not go to the Ministry of Justice at all, and instead went to go cockfighting with the Duke of Ying? Imperial brother, I went to the Ministry of Justice today to interrogate the Marquis of Dingyuan, and you'll never guess what I found out, Imperial brother. If you don't speak now, get out of my study at once. Based on my assessment, this treason and collaboration with the enemy must be a frame-up against the Marquis of Dingyuan. Otherwise, why would a perfectly fine Marquis have nothing better to do than commit a crime that would get his whole clan executed? Therefore, I suspect that this was definitely the work of someone who has a long-standing grudge against him. I've thought it over carefully. If we talk about who the Marquis has offended, among all the civil and military officials, it would just be me and the Duke of Ying. Although the Marquis used to impeach me frequently, differently. I am magnanimous and do not stoop to his level. But the Duke of Ying is different. He is just a vengeful old curmudgeon. This matter definitely has something to do with him. Is this what you've managed to uncover? Father, do you only solve cases based on your own guesses? Am I really that unreliable? Can you lot just listen to me finish, please? When I was interrogating the Marquis of Dingyuan today, I specifically pressed him on whether the Duke of England had shown any unusual or strange behavior lately. Guess what he said? If you keep holding out on us, I'm going to start scratching you. This rebellious daughter. The Marquis told me that a few months ago, at the old matriarch's birthday banquet at his estate, the Duchess of England came with her son. Previously, the Duke's son had beaten his son, and he had reported it to His Majesty. His Majesty reprimanded the Duke, so the Duchess brought her son to offer a formal apology. The old matriarch saw her sincerity and accepted it. However, the Marquis recalled that during the banquet, one of the Duke's heir servants near his study happened to get lost. In the end, it was the Marquis's own staff who found him and brought him back to the banquet, returning him to the Duke's heir. Father, that servant of the Duke's heir must be suspicious. We'll know for sure if we arrest him and interrogate him. Uncle, I'll go right now and bring him in for questioning. To what do I owe the pleasure of your visit? Capital Patrol Official Business. We hope for your cooperation, Your Grace. Official business. What crime could my household possibly have committed? Nothing major. We're just here to make an arrest for questioning. If you refuse to cooperate, Your Grace, I have reason to suspect you of defying an imperial decree. Since it is His Majesty's will, then please enter. Your Highness, what have I done to warrant this? How does this relate to a treason case? You'll have to ask your son that, Your Grace. Get him. Chengxiao, bite his leg. Let go of me. On what grounds are you arresting me? I was just about to see who won. A father who loves cockfighting and a son who loves cricket fighting. Truly, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Young lord, stop acting wild in front of me. I'm asking you. The last time you went to the Marquis of Dingyuan's birthday banquet for the old dowager, those few servants you brought with you, call them here immediately. Why should I? This is my courtyard. You trespassed into my home, and I haven't even held you accountable for it yet. You fool. What kind of time do you think this is? You still have the nerve to act up here. The princess ordered you to summon the servants. Who went to the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate for the birthday banquet? Just call them here. If you keep blathering on, don't blame me for breaking your legs. What is this about? At the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate during the birthday banquet, Summonie saw your servant sneaking around near the Marquis's study, and shortly thereafter, the Marquis's study was found to contain letters of treason and colluding with the enemy. You still dare to say this has nothing to do with the Duke of England's estate? I advise you to tell the truth and save yourself from unnecessary physical suffering. That was so long ago. How am I supposed to remember? You don't remember. Good. If you don't remember, then perhaps I should take you to the Ministry of Justice prison for a visit. Perhaps then you'll remember quite clearly. Summonie, come here. Bring every single servant in my courtyard to me right now. That was months ago. Which servant went with me? I really can't remember. Why are you interrogating the servants in my courtyard? For no reason. What is actually going on? What study? What treason? My son only accompanied his mother to offer apologies at the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate. All of you look up. At the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate, during the old madam's birthday banquet, which one of you accompanied the young master? Step forward. Which one of you slipped away during the banquet? Reporting to master it was Wrongsheng. He went to the privy midway and didn't return for a long time. When I asked him where he went at the time, he said he took the wrong path and was delayed. Wrongsheng, where is Wrongsheng? Bring him to me. Reporting to master. A few months ago, Wrongsheng said his mother back home was critically ill, so I approved his leave and even gave him a settlement allowance. But it has been 3 months and he never came back. A few days ago, I even sent someone to his hometown to inquire, but they said they hadn't seen him. It is as if he vanished into thin air. Nice try, Duke of England. Do you take me for a fool? I won't believe your nonsense. Vanished into thin air. You must have, you old codger, worried that the matter would be exposed and killed him to silence him. I live a perfectly good life. Why would I go and commit treason? Why? Good question. You resented the Marquis of Dingyuan for impeaching you in court, so you used the guise of paying a visit to apologize. Forged letters of treason. Had your servant sneak into the Marquise's estate, hid the letters in the Marquise's study, and framed him for treason, slanderous lies. Your Highness is abusing your power to settle a personal grudge. I have always conducted myself with honor and integrity, and I will not stand for you to cast such baseless aspersions on me. The Marquis of Dingyuan has impeached you many times in court as well. Doesn't that also make your Highness a suspect in framing him? Do you think I am as narrow-minded as you? I have never cared for such trivial reputations. Do not imagine that I am as devoid of morals as you are. You stop spewing such slanderous accusations. Are you trying to fake a feint to play the victim? Let me tell you, it is not going to happen. That servant was from your Duke of England's estate, and he disappeared from your estate as well. If you cannot produce evidence to prove your innocence, I will immediately have everyone in your household arrested. That is right. If you have no evidence, have them all arrested. Your Grace, you keep claiming you've been wronged. So why don't you produce some evidence to prove that you are innocent? Steward, I am here, Your Grace. Go and investigate. Look into that servant named Wrongsheng. Find out when he entered the household and who he associated with on a daily basis. Every word he spoke, every action he took. I want it all investigated thoroughly. Do not overlook a single detail. I have already sent men to investigate. This matter is of great importance. But that servant named Wrongsheng was just a lowly, unremarkable servant. Who would have thought he would suddenly vanish into thin air? As for why he was skulking around near the Marquis of Dingyuan's study, I truly have no idea. Everyone in my estate was kept completely in the dark. The most pressing matter now is to find out who that servant named Wrongsheng really is, and to find him as soon as possible. How can we trust you? What if you flee tonight to escape punishment? Am I insane? Who knows? What if you, Duke of England, are afraid the truth will come out, and tonight you go and silence the Marquis of Dingyuan? After all, in this matter you have a track record, don't you? The second prince is right. We must keep an eye on you. In case you run to the prison and silence the Marquis of Dingyuan, who will we turn to for justice? Since none of you trust me, what do you suggest? You go to the Ministry of Justice and keep the Marquis company. I think Zhaoyang is right. For these next few days, Your Grace, you shall stay at the prison and watch the Marquis. Imperial brother, you should go too. Because you, second Imperial brother, are also a suspect. Why should I go? I will go there tonight, to the prison, and watch the Marquis. I want to see who would dare to kill someone right under my nose. Do you think it is possible that the second prince and the Duke of England are working together? No wonder they're both going to the Ministry of Justice. Are you saying the second prince and the Duke of England will join forces to finish off the Marquis tonight? We must sneak into the Ministry of Justice tonight and catch them in the act. It is very likely the dead of night is the perfect time for murder and arson. Daughter, get ready. Let's sneak off to the Ministry of Justice right now. Dad, I'm betting on Chengxiao. If I win, you give me 100 taels. In your dreams, I'm also betting on Chengxiao. If I win, daughter, you give me 100 taels. Daughter, we need to go help. Don't you want to watch a little longer? Any more admiring? And we'll both be down there to meet your imperial grandfather. Hey, where are you going? Give up yet? I'm way faster than you. Hey, PTI. You play dirty. Lord P. Beat him up for me, County Princess. Beat him to a pulp. No way. So weak. Are you hurt, County Princess? Of course not. I'm very capable. Then what is going on with this guy? What else could it be? This guy played dirty. He couldn't outrun me. So he got embarrassed and furious and tried to hit me. If I'm not mistaken, this person should be a prisoner from the Ministry of Justice. County Princess, how did you end up leading someone to my residence? Oh, right. Where is my dad? Where did my big daddy go? My poor dad. Are you still alive? Don't panic, County Princess. The prince's life is not in immediate danger. My dad is okay. We must get him to the Imperial Palace immediately to have the Imperial physicians examine him. In the middle of the night, why are you wailing so frantically? Imperial uncle, my dad seems to have kicked the bucket. Your Majesty, the prince and the second prince are still alive. They aren't dead. Why do you all look like you're already being summoned to the afterlife? Where are the imperial physicians? Get them to examine them right now. What happened to them? Dr. Zhang, how is my father? How much longer does he have? It is fortunate that the princess brought him here in time. What if she had been late? If it had been any later, the prince is awake. Daughter, were you off playing in the dirt? Yes, father. He is the one who covered me in this dirt. He chased me for dozens of streets. If I hadn't run fast, he would have slapped me flat. How dare he bully my daughter? I'll skin you alive. What on earth is going on? Everything was fine. How did you end up in such a sorry state? Imperial uncle, if not for the fact that father and I cleverly snuck into the Ministry of Justice tonight, the Marquis of Dingyuan would be dead. You snuck into the Ministry of Justice? Why didn't you take the guards from the estate? Zhaoyang, didn't I give you over 100 elite guards? If I brought that many people, would that still be called sneaking in? What is this? This is the soul-severing powder. If this poison hits the ground, it releases a thick black mist, and anyone who inhales it will die on the spot. Where did you get this? I saw that assassin getting ready to smash this bottle on the ground. I was curious, and just as he threw it, I caught the bottle. What if Zhaoyang hadn't caught that bottle? Pei Yan. I am here, Your Majesty. Drag him away and interrogate him. Interrogate him to death if you must, even if you have to dig 3 feet under. Find out exactly who sent you. I'm the one who kept watch on this person. If I hadn't been watching him, he would have escaped long ago. Imperial uncle, how could you give credit for my work to someone else? Your contribution. I have noted it. I was the one who found this clue, and I brought him to your manor. If it weren't for me, you never would have caught him. The princess is truly capable. The Supreme Court has been investigating this case for so long, without finding any leads at all. Yet once the princess and the prince took action, they found it in just 1 day. Of course I'm capable. How could I compare to those useless sacks in the court? Your Majesty, this case was originally your assignment to the princess. As the leader of the Imperial Guard, it is my duty to cooperate. Perhaps you should let me assist the princess in interrogating and investigating so that we can't uncover the masterminds sooner. Very well, but you must make sure to protect the princess's safety and ensure the interrogation proceeds smoothly. Who sent you to assassinate the Marquis of Dingyuan? Princess, this man refuses to confess. My subordinates are preparing the torture instruments now. I guarantee we'll make him talk. Don't waste the effort. Take him and follow me. Where is the princess taking this man? To investigate the case, of course. Lord P. Find me a prison cart. I'm going to take him for a ride around the streets. I don't believe that in a city this large, there isn't a single person who knows him. The Capital Patrol is investigating a case by order of the princess, Anyon, who recognizes the man in this cart, or provide clues regarding his background or accomplices. A reward of 1,000 taels of silver will be given. Princess, I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. I truly don't know who the employer is. I'm just a hired assassin, a mercenary. In our line of work, we only care about the money, not the person. The employer uses secret drops to pass messages to our guild. We then go to the guild to accept the missions. The guild only assigned me the mission to kill the Marquis of Dingyuan at the prison. You say you're an assassin. How can you prove it? This is the token of the Blood Shadow Pavilion. According to the guild's rules, the employer never shows their face. They only send messages through secret drops. We choose the missions we want to take. After completing them, we use this token to claim our reward at the pavilion. Princess, there is indeed an assassin organization in the underworld called the Blood Shadow Pavilion. They are known for their secretive methods, and this token matches the descriptions I've heard. What kind of useless assassin is this? Surround the private room upstairs. You dare to disrespect a prince. Are you tired of living? Your Highness, please calm down. It is not that I am being rude, but the princess is investigating a case under imperial decree. The Capital Inspection Bureau is simply performing its duties. We hope Your Highness will cooperate with the inspection and not make things difficult for the princess. Cooperate with the inspection. I am simply here enjoying a meal. When have I ever hindered your investigation? This is absolutely outrageous. What Capital Inspection Bureau? It's nothing more than a minor post given to that girl by our imperial father, and she dares to wield it like a supreme order. Chengxiao, bring me pen and paper. Record the names of everyone in this room. Don't miss a single one. Zhaoyang, what are you doing? Princess, this is my Your royal brother is merely having a small gathering with friends, just enjoying a simple meal. You bring men here barging in and acting so rudely. What on earth are you trying to do? Although I'm not sure which of my brothers you are. Just now, while I was downstairs, I clearly sensed two glares, filled with murderous intent directed at me. One came from you, royal brother. As for the other, I haven't identified who it belongs to yet, but it must be from someone in this private room. Once I have everyone's names written down, I will follow up and question each and every one of them later. I will eventually drag out whoever is trying to kill me. Zhaoyang, the emperor appointed you as the capital inspector, and this is how you behave. I merely bumped into some friends, and we were just chatting here. How did that hinder you in any way? Based solely on your baseless suspicions, you order the Imperial Guards to make such a scene and blockade everyone in this private room. Do you have any respect for me as your brother, or any regard for royal dignity? You were all in here conspiring to murder me, and none of you thought about royal dignity then. Why should I consider it for you? Don't think I don't know that you're doing this because I caught the criminal who murdered Marquis Dingyuan, and you're worried he might expose you, so you want to silence me. What is Princess Zhaoyang talking about? What Marquis Dingyuan? Zhaoyang, what nonsense are you spouting? Stop spouting such drivel and casting baseless accusations. What does the Marquis Dingyuan case have to do with us? Stop trying to drag us into this. What does the princess mean by this? We came out to have a simple meal and chat. How could we be so suddenly falsely accused of such crimes? You have no proof, yet you make these wild accusations. Isn't that a bit too overbearing? If you are truly innocent, why are you so agitated? Fool, you've fallen for it. Don't think just because the emperor bestowed the position of capital inspector upon you that you can act lawlessly here and do as you please. You're shouting at me. You even want to hit me. Just you wait. I'm going to tell Imperial Uncle right now. You lot conspiring in this private room about how to kill me. It is terrifying. Imperial Uncle, I've found the mastermind. Sigh, speak. Who has provoked you today? Imperial Uncle, someone wants to kill me. That criminal has accomplices. More than one, in fact. I took that criminal out for a public parade today. You reckless child. That was a hired assassin. You parade him through the streets. Aren't you afraid that the organization behind this assassin will assassinate you? As long as I can share the burden for Imperial Uncle, I fear no death. You said you discovered the assassin's accomplices, and that there was a whole room full of them. Did you find that? The lair of the Blood Shadow Pavilion? No, but I did find someone who knows the assassin, because I sensed murderous intent. Two people wanted to kill me. One of them was your son. I'm not sure who the other one was. Who is it today? Which prince has provoked her this time? Imperial Uncle, let me tell you, I just discovered on the streets of the capital. Your son is currently with the people on this list, in a room, plotting how to kill me. Uncle Emperor, you must help your niece find out who exactly is trying to harm me. What if they come in the middle of the night to the prince's residence to take my life? Wouldn't I die without knowing why? This is simply too much. Every single one of these names is a legitimate son of a court official. Uncle Emperor, did you hear what I said? This group of people in a room are plotting to kill me. My family only has me as the sole heir. You cannot just stand by and watch me die. Your third imperial brother is fine. Why would he kill you? Who knows? It must be the assassin's accomplices who saw that I caught the guy, disrupting their plan, so they're thinking of ways to kill me. Uncle Emperor, the people who framed the Marquis of Dingyuan for treason must be these people on the list. Let's arrest them all and take them to the Ministry of Justice and lock them up. Oh, Zhaoyang, do you even know who the families of these young men are? I don't. Why do you ask? Uncle Emperor, are you planning to arrest everyone in their families? That wouldn't be right. Misfortunes shouldn't befall their families. If you were to execute them to the 9 generations, so many people would die. Leave the list with me. I will handle this matter. Rest assured, your third imperial brother wouldn't dare kill you. If I hadn't run fast, I would have been beaten to death by him. If he dares to hit me today, tomorrow he'll dare to break into the Duan Prince's residence to kill my father, and the day after he'll dare to storm the palace to kill you, Uncle Emperor. Insolent. Arrests and investigations must be based on solid evidence, not child's play. Uncle, you're biased. You just don't want to punish the third imperial prince and his little friends. Let me tell you something. If you dare lay a hand on me, I'll tell the Empress Dowager. Stop spouting nonsense. When did I ever lay a hand on you? You, stay back. I am the only precious child of my family. If you hit me, my father will not let you get away with it. Third imperial brother, in broad daylight, you dare to use violence. You are being far too reckless. Imperial sister, help me. Third Imperial Brother. If you dare take another step closer, I'll march straight to the Imperial study and find His Majesty, and see if he doesn't flay you alive. Help! Third Imperial Brother is trying to kill me. Yi Zikan, how dare you hit my daughter? Third Imperial Brother, you've killed me. I must go to the ancestral temple and pray to our ancestors. Beg the ancestors to protect me. Where is grandmother? I want grandmother. My daughter, don't be afraid. Father is here. Are you hurt anywhere? Your Majesty, your son. Father, I want to go home. Third Imperial Brother, look at this. Sister Zhaoyang has been terrified by you. Did you hit my daughter when I wasn't looking? Your Majesty, Third Imperial Brother has gone too far. Look at how terrified Sister Zhaoyang is. Imperial Father, I did not, Imperial Father. I only wanted to say a few words to Zhaoyang. Third Brother, you're still lying. You clearly wanted to hit Sister Zhaoyang. If I hadn't seen it and stopped you in time, you would have hit Sister Zhaoyang. Third Brother, my daughter, I've failed you. From now on, I will definitely pay more attention to you. I won't let you be bullied by anyone ever again. Imperial Brother, your son bullied my daughter. What are you going to do about it? If you cannot handle this fairly, Imperial Brother, I am going to the Imperial Ancestral Temple to ask our ancestors to visit you in your dreams and discuss this with you. You scoundrel, as a prince, you show no care or love for your juniors. Instead, you resort to physical violence. Guards, take him to the clan court. Only when the case of the Marquis of Dingyuan's estate has been cleared and your innocence is proven, may you crawl out of the clan court. If it is discovered that you were indeed involved, I will surely have your hide. Imperial Father must have seen the name list. He is just using Yaishang's crying and making a scene as an excuse to punish me. Imperial Father punished Third Brother. You don't need to be afraid anymore. If he dares to bully you again in the future, come to your Imperial sister. I certainly won't let him off lightly. Here, take this. Imperial sister will take you for a walk in town. We'll buy some jewelry so you won't be sad anymore. Yuan Bao. You're so kind, Imperial sister. Imperial Brother, take a look at your daughter. I'm going to tell the Empress Mother that your son bullied my daughter. You, get back here. Brother Emperor, take a look at your daughter. Fu Hai, go to the Imperial study and get 3,000 taels in banknotes for her. This shop belongs to my uncle. The materials are authentic, and it's not watered down. It is much more reliable than other shops. Since you've been wrong today, don't hold back. If you see something you like, just take it. I'll just have a word with my uncle later. Our uncle is amazing. To think he could open a jewelry shop in the capital. He is Soin my uncle. What do you mean, our uncle? Heh. Our uncle certainly has a good eye. Just looking at these pieces, you can tell the materials are exceptional. The designs are elegant too, unlike that shop next door, which just relies on flashy gimmicks. That's not what you said just a moment ago. That was a moment ago. This is now. My younger sister has grown up now. She is mature and won't be easily swayed by nonsense anymore. This is just one of the shops that my uncle owns. Another day, I'll take you to check out the other shops my uncle runs. What other day? Why not today? Shopkeeper, wrap up all the jewelry Ye Qiong touched just now. Pack every single piece up. Don't leave a single one out. Put it all on my uncle's tab. I'll explain it to him personally later. Sister, you are my idol. If anyone bullies you in the future, just come to me. Just say the word, and I'll go beat them up immediately. Yi Qiong, you are so shameless. Don't you want to see my uncle's other shops? Are you still going or not? Of course I am. Imperial sister, you're the best. What other shops does our uncle own? My uncle also owns a restaurant. Are you going? I hear they have fresh ingredients from the south today. It is delicious. Where is our uncle's restaurant? Let's hurry. You murderous death trap. Give me back my brother's life. Let go first. I'll treat you another time. Someone is causing trouble at my uncle's restaurant. I'm going to see what is happening. You silly thing. You don't even know what is going on. Yet you're charging in there. Haha, sit down. Let's see what is going on first. Everyone, please judge for yourselves. My brother ate from here at noon today. The ate treasure duck from Shiding restaurant. Right after eating, he started vomiting and had diarrhea. Not long after, he stopped breathing. This duck is poisoned. Shiding restaurant has no regard for human life. My good man, you cannot just say such things. Shiding restaurant runs an honest business, and we pride ourselves on our integrity. We have no grudge or grievance against you. Why would we want to harm you? Besides, this is at the feet of the capital. Even if you gave us 10 times the courage, we would never dare to poison anyone. Could your brother have eaten something else that led to the poisoning? The evidence is indisputable. My brother bought an 8-treasure duck from your Xie restaurant at noon today. He started vomiting and had diarrhea soon after he finished eating. He was rolling on the ground in pain and didn't last an hour before he stopped breathing. You heartless, shady establishment. How dare you put poison in the food? Give me back my brother's life. This man is just making false accusations. My uncle's restaurant has been doing business honestly. How could they possibly poison anyone? Could your uncle have offended someone? The capital prefecture is here to investigate. Clear the way, everyone else. Honorable magistrate, you must stand up for justice for me. I beg you, officer, to seek justice for my brother. The plaintiff is accusing Xie Pavilion of having poisonous food, resulting in death. This is a matter of life and death. My apologies, shopkeeper, but I must ask you to come back to the office for questioning. Shackles, take him away. My lord, I am being wronged. My humble restaurant has always done business with a clear conscience. How could I possibly use poison? Wouldn't that be ruining my own reputation? This case is now taken over by my Capital Inspection Bureau. Princess, this is a homicide case. By law, it should be handled by the Capital Prefecture. This token was bestowed by His Majesty himself, granting authority over all affairs in the capital, from the estates of nobles down to the common streets. Everything falls under the jurisdiction of my Capital Inspection Bureau. Since this homicide occurred within the capital's territory, it falls under the jurisdiction of my Capital Inspection Bureau. Take everyone away. I will preside over this case myself. It was me who accused this heartless shopkeeper of murder. What right do you have to arrest me? If you don't want to go to my Capital Inspection Bureau, that is fine. Someone bring chairs and a table here. I will conduct the trial right here at the entrance of Xie Pavilion, in front of all the people. I am just a commoner. The commoner does not want to be here. I would rather go to the capital prefecture. Do you look down on my capital patrol division? The case was just reported to the capital prefecture, I am aware. But all affairs, big or small, in the capital fall under the jurisdiction of our capital patrol division. The capital prefecture is no exception. That is why I just said this case is now under the jurisdiction of our capital patrol division. Is there anything else you don't understand? Why are you exchanging glances with him? Could it be that you two have conspired to frame this restaurant? I only feel that a matter of life and death is no small thing. In the past, when a homicide occurred in the capital, it was always handled by the capital prefecture. I thought that the capital prefecture would have more experience with such cases, and perhaps it could more quickly bring justice to my younger brother. If you have nothing to hide, why are you so insistent on going to the capital prefecture? Are you questioning His Majesty's decree? I have not. Your ladyship, I am innocent. Then what do you mean? If you feel that I am not qualified to judge you, that is fine. I will take you to the Imperial and let His Majesty judge you himself. Would that be qualified enough for you? Your ladyship, I will accept the trial right here. I was standing right there just now, and I already know the ins and outs of this matter. You say your brother died from eating the 8-treasure duck from this Xie restaurant and was poisoned. Do you have any evidence? This is the evidence. My brother and I bought this 8-treasure duck together from this Xie restaurant after we got back. My brother was very hungry and ate half of it before I could. I specifically left this half for myself, but who would have known that soon after he finished eating, he started convulsing all over, and in less than a quarter of an hour, he stopped breathing. I was so terrified I nearly lost my soul. I quickly called for a doctor to check on him, only to learn that this 8-treasure duck had been laced with deadly poison. My lady, please discern the truth. This man keeps insisting that his younger brother died after eating this 8-treasure duck. But from the time this 8-treasure duck left Xie restaurant until his brother took ill, along the way the only ones who had contact with it were the 2 brothers. Your humble subject has reason to suspect it was he who poisoned his own brother himself, and then framed my Xie restaurant. My lady, I am innocent. I only have this one younger brother. Have I lost my mind to poison my own flesh and blood? Have the Imperial Guard send over a coroner so he can carefully examine the deceased's body. Also, take a look at that remaining half of the 8-treasure duck and see exactly what kind of poison was added. Reporting to you, my lady, this 8-treasure duck was laced with red arsenic. It is highly toxic, destroying the internal organs immediately upon ingestion, taking a person's life within half an hour. Examine the body again. What poison did he succumb to? Reporting to you, my lady, the poison found in this man is exactly the same as the red arsenic found in the 8 treasure duck. You said he was your fellow villager, and that he brought a lot of wealth back to the village? Yes. He brought back so much wealth when he returned home. He said he was a servant for a wealthy family, and that all that money was a reward from his masters. It was fully several thousand taels. I have never in my life seen that much silver. I've never seen that much silver in my life. So you coveted his money, poisoned him to death, and framed the Xiding restaurant. Princess back at the Marquis Dingyuan's estate, at the old madam's birthday banquet. This man was in such a panic. He bumped into you, princess, and in the end, he didn't even apologize before running off. I made some inquiries later, my lady. This man is named Rongsheng, and he is the personal attendant to the heir of the Duke of Ying. Did you say who he serves? This really is the Duke of Ying, heir's personal attendant. Yes it is. It seems someone did bump into me. Chuntao, did we demand an accounting from him? Why don't you answer me? Why are you looking at Yi Qiang? You are my maid. Are you trying to betray me? I did look into that attendant's background before, but the heir young master Gi Yu happened to be at the Moxian River engaged in a poetry duel. You heard that Princess Zhaoyang was there to cheer him on, so you didn't have time to bother with that attendant. You were terrified of being outdone by Princess Zhaoyang, so you immediately took everyone from the princess's manor and went to cheer on that young master Gu as well. How is that possible? Princess, you did indeed go to Moya Pavilion to support young Master Gi Yu. Stop spreading rumors. I have so much to do every day. How could I possibly have the time to support someone I don't even know? Are you sure? This is your brother, an accomplice in framing Marquis Dingyuan for treason and conspiring with the enemy. Guards seize him, throw him in prison. Your ladyship, please discern the truth. Whether you are wronged or not will be determined after questioning. Besides, your brother is suspected of framing the Marquess of Dingyuan for treason. Regardless of whether you are an accomplice, as someone within his 9 familial clans, you naturally cannot escape involvement. Guards, take him away. Princess, spare my life. Princess, I have lied. He is actually not my brother. Speak. What I despise most are such petty profit-seeking scoundrels. He and I are just fellow villagers. Some time ago, when he returned to our village from the capital, he brought back a lot of money. I was momentarily blinded by greed, and when I saw he was heading back to the capital, I shamelessly followed him, just thinking I could benefit a little. I truly did not know that he had committed such a monstrous crime. I beg you, princess, show mercy. Just moments ago, you were swearing that this was your brother. Now you have changed your story. How dare you try to deceive me? Princess, spare my life. He really is just my fellow villager. I saw that he had been poisoned by that 8 treasure duck, and that is when I became greedy, thinking I could pose as his older brother to demand justice from Xiding restaurant and extort some money to take back home. I am telling the whole truth this time. I beg your ladyship to see the truth. You poisoned him. Your highness, please judge. My lady, please discern the truth. That man did indeed buy this 8 treasure duck at our shop, but our restaurant's 8 treasure duck is prepared with ingredients from the back kitchen and cooked in a uniform manner. Even the seasoning is all done according to a fixed recipe. The entire process was overseen by our staff, so it is absolutely impossible for anyone to have poisoned it. Besides, the number of 8 treasure ducks sold today exceeded 100. All the other customers ate them and are perfectly fine. How is it that only he fell ill? That simply makes no sense. My establishment operates as a business, seeking only steady profit. We have no grudge against that customer whatsoever, so there is no reason for us to poison anyone for no gain and destroy our own reputation. You said he was your fellow townsman and that he brought back a lot of money. Yes. He really was carrying a great deal of money back home. He said he was a servant in a wealthy household, and all that money was a reward from his masters. It was a full several thousand taels. I have never in my entire life seen that much silver. So you coveted his money, poisoned him to death, and framed the Xiding restaurant. No, if it were a frame-up, you wouldn't have reported it to the authorities. Why did he look at you just now? Are you two in cahoots? Your Highness, please examine the facts. We are all yamen runners from the capital prefecture. We heard that someone reported a case at this restaurant claiming a life was lost and that there was an attempt to extort money, so we rushed here to make an arrest. I do not know this man at all. I beg your Highness to see the truth. Do you think I, with my brilliant, unrivaled intellect, could be deceived by by you. I heard you clearly just now. You said the victim accused the Xie restaurant of serving poisoned food, causing a death, and now you say the restaurant reported the case. How dare you try to deceive me? Isn't it said that Princess Zhaoyang is just a wastrel? Why is she so sharp? Your subordinate. I came in such a rush. Just had a momentary slip of the tongue. Your Highness. Your Highness, please spare me, Your Highness. I will confess everything. Someone gave me money and told me to do this. That person gave me 100 taels and told me to bring my fellow villagers' corpse here to extort them. They even taught me what to say. I was temporarily blinded by greed. Please, Your Highness, spare me. Who gave you the money? What was their name? What did they look like? Tall, short, fat, or thin? What were they wearing? Did they have any distinguishing features? I don't know. The person was wearing a veil hat, with the brim pulled down very low. They also had a face veil on. They didn't show their face from start to finish. I couldn't even tell if they were tall or short, fat or thin. As for their voice, that person deliberately deepened their tone, sounding both thin and raspy. I couldn't tell if they were a man or a woman. I only know that when they spoke, it was ice cold, without a hint of emotion. That is all I know. Please, Your Highness, spare me. Spare me, Your Highness. It was this man who gave me the silver. He said as long as I stirred up trouble and let everyone know that this Xie restaurant poisoned someone, that would be enough. I thought it was just a simple formality and I could get a sum of silver for free. So I got muddled for a moment and agreed. Please see the truth, Your Highness. I truly never had any intention of harming anyone's life. Please, Your Highness, spare me. How did you know? There was something fishy between the two of them. I am just that brilliant. Are you still hiring at this Capital Inspection Bureau? I want to be an official too. Absolutely not. My Capital Inspection Bureau isn't for just anyone. Everyone inside is an incredibly talented expert. They are well-versed in astronomy and knowledgeable about geography. They can wield a brush to solve cases and use their fists to beat up bullies. Not only are they master strategists, but their courage also far exceeds the norm. Without genuine skill, you wouldn't even be able to touch the threshold of my bureau. Your Highness is of noble birth. I fear you couldn't endure such hardships, nor could you keep up with the pace of my bureau. All this is for you. Let me join you at the Capital Inspection Bureau to solve cases. Don't try to bribe me. I will absolutely not let such corrupt societal tendencies blow into my Capital Inspection Bureau. But having said that, fourth princess, you are kind-hearted, sincere and honest, and full of righteous passion to want to do your part for the people of the capital. This intent is truly commendable. It just so happens our Capital Inspection Bureau has recently been in need of someone like you who is righteous, sincere, and open-minded. Welcome to the Capital Inspection Bureau. Tie these two up. Are you not going to arrest this one too? Is he not the restaurant owner's nephew? Chengxiao, take some men inside to search. No poison was found in your Xie restaurant. You are temporarily cleared of suspicion. You keep this kitchen clean and orderly. Continue to keep it this way in the future. Do not become lax, though you are cleared of suspicion for now. But should the case require further investigation, you must fully cooperate with us. Or if you recall any clues, be sure to inform the Capital Inspection Bureau. Thank you, Princess, for your keen judgment, for clearing the name of my humble Xie restaurant and sparing us this unmerited disaster. If we notice any suspicious activity in the future, everyone here at Xie restaurant will immediately report it to the Capital Inspection Bureau and assist with the investigation in any way we can. Are you not going to check further? You're ruling out suspects already. Isn't this your uncle's restaurant? Did your uncle offend you? I am a princess who upholds justice and acts with sincerity and integrity. I would never shield anyone. Your uncle is lucky to have you. Your Righteous Highness, I'll take you now to find the real person who did the poisoning. Take them with us. We're going to the Duke's estate. That servant, I have already sent men to look for him. Why must your Highness press me so hard? It is just a servant. You still haven't found him yet. Do you take me for a fool? I'll give you the time it takes an incense stick to burn. If you still can't find him, then today, I will have you thrown directly into jail. Your Highness, must you abuse your power for a personal vendetta? Who are you calling abusive? I've got dirt on the Duke. escape. He is done for. What dirt? Did you find evidence of his treason? I wonder, princess, what dirt you think you have on me to make such a fuss. I have found your servant. Where is he? I will interrogate him myself. My estate has treated him well. Why would he betray us? Colluding with outsiders to frame everyone in my household. Are you still putting on an act, your grace? You know, we at the Capital Patrol Bureau have investigated your household servant, so you poisoned him right away. You have the nerve to ask me where he is. You old scoundrel. How dare you commit such a foul deed? Do you think that by silencing that servant, you can just rest easy? You say that servant is dead? Here is the testimony. No, this is wrong. This is an elaborately laid trap. Your Highness, my lady, I truly did not poison him. You just said your fellow villager ate the treasure duck from the Shiding restaurant, and that is how he was poisoned. So after you bought the treasure duck from the restaurant, on the way back to your lodging, did you run into anyone? Did you encounter anything unusual? Or was there anything strange? If this treasure duck was poisoned at the restaurant, then when the lady was searching and questioning, there should have been some traces to follow. Since we can't find any clues now, then it must have happened while you were on your way home. Something must have gone wrong on the road. Or perhaps you encountered some evildoer who poisoned it secretly. On the road, I don't think. Wait, I remember now. When Rongsheng and I were walking back, we ran into Rongsheng's sweetheart halfway there. The woman stood at the alley entrance and called him over. In a quiet spot nearby, they spoke in whispers for a while. I was listening from a short distance away, but I couldn't hear clearly what they were saying. What is the name of Rongsheng's sweetheart? Where does she live? Rongsheng didn't let me pry into his private affairs, but this time when Rongsheng came to the capital, it was just to see this sweetheart. He said that once the heat dies down, he would take his sweetheart to bring her back to his hometown, and the two of them could live a good life. A good life indeed. Steward, find out exactly who this Rongsheng's lover in the capital is. What is her name and where does she live? Where does she usually go? Even if you have to dig 3 feet under, you must find her for me. I can't believe I missed that detail during the interrogation. My mistake. If the Duke would even kill his own servant to silence him, then if we find dirt on him, will he silence us too? What if he sneaks into the prince's estate in the middle of the night and kills both of us? Surely not. Father is a prince. He has already committed treason. Do you think he cares if you're a prince? Then what do we do? Today, can we even walk out of this Duke's estate? Do you think the people I brought could defeat the Duke's guards? Daughter, are you saying that the Duke is even keeping a private army? Is he planning to rebel? Your Highness, Princess, do you think I'm mad to kill the two of you? Didn't you hear what this man said? That Rongsheng had a lover. Our most urgent task right now is to find that lover. Then you go investigate. Aren't you and the prince investigating this case? Haven't I already found out that you are the mastermind? I did not frame the Marquis of Dingyuan. How many times must I say it? I have been wronged. You say you've been wronged? Then provide evidence to prove that you are innocent. And what is the point of you just quibbling and making trouble here with me? Do you expect me to go find evidence for you? You, princess, prince, the second prince and third prince, are they not also suspects? Perhaps the person who poisoned Rongsheng is one of those two princes. You make a fair point, but the third prince has already been locked away by His Majesty in the Imperial Clan Court. Oh, right. The third prince. What about the second prince? Could the second prince have silenced Rongsheng and then fled to escape punishment? Your second prince brother has not. Uncle Duan. Why is that? Have you been bought off by the second prince? The second prince's residence will likely be in chaos for a while. It seems his nephew has recently been like he is under a spell, insisting on running off to Jing'an Temple outside the city, determined to become a monk. He is even specifically demanding to study under that. What is his name? The living Buddha Zhigong. No one can talk him out of it. He is dead set on shaving his head and renouncing the world. It is just a phase, but he is taking it seriously. What is the matter with you two? Are you even listening to me? We heard you. You two are ants now. As his elders, you really should show more concern for the younger generation. If you have free time, you should drop by the second prince's residence more often and try to talk some sense into that little brat. Monastic life can't compare to the wealth and security of royalty. Life is much better this way. Since this man has confessed, I will send men to investigate further. Who exactly is that lover? When the time comes, I will specially invite the three of you to come over and discuss what to do next. It is getting late now. You've all worked hard investigating today. Why don't you head back to your residences and rest? It is dinner time already. You're not keeping us for dinner. Yeah, I've been working hard on this case, and the Duke won't even keep us for a meal. With a mansion as large as the Duke's, surely you aren't unable to spare a meal for us. How can there be such shameless people in this world? I truly want to commit treason and throw these people out. My estate has always only prepared simple plain meals. It is very modest. I fear it won't be good enough for such distinguished guests. You all are people of high status and great wealth, accustomed to fine delicacies every day. The thin porridge and side dishes in my estate probably won't suit your tastes. It is fine. Doesn't your estate have a chef? I, the commandery princess, can order my own dishes. I, the princess, have never had simple plain meals before. It is perfect to try some here at the Duke's residence. Duke, last time at the cockfight, you were bragging that the chef in your estate was a famous chef hired from Jiangnan for a hefty sum, with cooking skills unmatched in the capital. At ordinary banquets, one can't even taste such fresh flavors. Duke, you're not being kind. Are you trying to avoid keeping us for dinner? Finally, someone who understands human speech. Then hurry up and leave. Are you trying to get rid of us so you can go kill Rongsheng's lover? Aha! You mastermind. Are you planning to go silence someone again? What do you mean you? This old scoundrel has some nerve. Not content with poisoning one person, he wants to poison a second one too. Today I, this prince, shall uphold justice. You poisoned someone to death and then framed my uncle's restaurant for it. You've gone too far. I will definitely go tell the emperor. Fine. Since you distinguished guests do not mind the simple meals served in my humble manner and insist on staying for dinner, then I cannot refuse. Tell the kitchen to prepare extra food tonight. Make sure to serve the prince, the princess, and the countess well. Do not neglect our esteemed guests. Duke, last time you were boasting to me that the chef in your manor cooks braised venison with an authentic flavor. Bring me a serving and that jar of aged osmanthus wine. Remember to serve it to me warmed through. I, this countess, want your house's sought ed abalone in green jade sauce. I want plenty of the Duke's simple meal as well. His birthday isn't for another half month. If we go now, it's giving him too much credit. Father, Father, isn't that the Duke of England? What is that old goat doing out so late? Is the Duke trying to run away? It is dark and windy tonight, the perfect time for murder and arson. Is the Duke planning to go to my manor to silence witnesses? I have just received word that Rongsheng's lover is currently staying at a house outside the city. She plans to flee the capital tonight. I am in a hurry to apprehend her. I have no time to tangle with you. Why are you just standing there? Hurry and drive the carriage to that house outside the city. If you ruin this, I will beat your master to death. The Duke truly has quite a talent to obtain such critical information and not report it to me immediately. Why? Were you planning to go there quietly by yourself and then silence them beforehand? I was just about to send word to your Prince Duan's manor. Luckily we caught you. Otherwise, that lover would have been silenced by the Duke. My lords, have mercy, have mercy. Stop. I am just a woman going back to my hometown. I have never done anything wrong. Why are you forcibly taking me? I beg you all to show mercy. Spare my life. Enough nonsense, guards. Bind her tightly and bring her back to the manor for interrogation immediately. Move quickly. Don't let her pull any tricks. I have already caught the person. We will interrogate her upon returning. At that time, it will naturally clear up the false accusations against me. Are you sure you won't kill her to silence her? Aren't the prince and the princess both here? Whether I have killed anyone to silence them? Aren't the two of you watching from the carriage? You won't kill me and my father to silence us, right? I am a prince. You really do want to kill us to silence us. You dare kill me. My imperial brother will not let you get away with this. How did the imperial family produce these two idiots? You two, the men in black outside, are here to kill that woman. I fear we have found the right person. It seems that the woman's identity is far more complicated than we thought. Duke, you are a good man. Duke, you must protect me and my father. In a moment, you go down and draw their fire, and my father and I will take the chance to run first. Don't worry. We will remember your kindness. A bunch of riffraff, daring to run wild in the capital's outskirts, just in time, saves me from having to find my own entertainment back home. Today, I'll use you scum for target practice. Hey, daughter, run. Run into the woods. Dad will stay behind to hold them off. What is going on? Are there ghosts? It is terrifying. Should I lie down and play dead too? Ha ha. Ah, there is a ghost. Imperial brother, help, help. It is so scary here. Your dad has gone mad. I don't know. I didn't even see him get hurt. They're all dead. Come out. Where are you, you wandering spirit? I am a prince. I have the protection of the imperial dragon from my brother. If you dare harm a hair on my head, my imperial brother will surely grind your bones to dust. Dad, what are you doing? Daughter, listen. It is terrifying out there. Dad just saw a ghost. Dad, don't be afraid. There are no ghosts out there. Your daughter here has friends everywhere. I'm not afraid of any demons or monsters. Where would you get friends from? Dad, do you believe in light? Dad believes. Dad, they appeared at my summoning just now and dealt with those who were trying to murder Dad by stabbing those two men in black to death. Where is your friend now? My friend left after stabbing them. So just now, that terrifying laughter was also from your friend. Yes, Dad. Are all those people outside dead? Dad, do you think they're dead? Should be. They're both lying still. It is the middle of nowhere. Are we really just going to leave them here? That doesn't seem right. After all, his grandfather once helped the emperor's grandfather build this empire. How about we just bury them right here and put up a marker? That makes sense. Don't worry, even though we've only known each other a few days. This official is a man of duty and a kind heart. I certainly won't let you die in vain, though we haven't always seen eye to eye. This prince is a man of great kindness. During festivals, I will be sure to come to your grave and burn plenty of good food and wine for you to make your life in the afterlife a bit easier. It is almost dawn. Hurry up and dig. What are you all doing? How are you awake? What are you all doing? This official was just a bit cold, so I was moving around to warm up. This prince was just testing to see if the shovel was sturdy. Surely this pit isn't meant to bury this old man, is it? How could that be? Your Highness, my lady, wasn't this pit meant for burying those two scoundrels? To think a noble duke would have such a hollow reputation. Your martial arts are shockingly poor, and yet, the moment I blinked, you went down. It's completely disgraceful. Look at this bunch of good-for-nothings in your estate. So many people, and you couldn't even handle two men in black. Utterly pathetic. It really required this prince to step in and clean up your mess. Exactly. If it weren't for me and my dad, everyone in your duke's estate would have been left to rot in the wilderness. If it weren't for this prince stepping forward, relying on his peerless, exceptional martial arts, and fought with all my might to save you from those assassins' blades. If it weren't for your own pathetic display of weakness, you would have already been crushed to dust by those two assassins. What chance would you have had to spout such nonsense then? When my father saw those assassins were about to hack the Duke to pieces on the spot, he risked his own life to fight them both off. Relying on his years of experience wandering the world, he took out those two assassins right there. I was just confused for a moment. My thanks to your Highness for your help. I will not forget this kindness. At least you've got some sense. You're quite sensible. I am always open and honorable, not some petty person who holds a grudge or begs for rewards. But from now on, whenever you see me, you had better show some respect. Don't go around acting like you're better than everyone else, looking down your nose at people. Otherwise, don't blame me for forgetting that I saved your life today. Who is it that is always looking down their nose at others the moment they meet them? What about that lover of Rongsheng's? Is she still alive? Your Highness, Princess, this person is still breathing. Why don't we head back to the city immediately? Wake her up and interrogate her carefully so we don't have any more trouble as the night drags on. Cough, cough, search her. See if there are any clues on her person. Princess, there are several packets of knockout powder here. They must have used this to knock out your household duke. Other than that, there is nothing else on these two. Bury these two. Go, let's head back. Splash this woman and wake her up. Cough, cough. You are the one who poisoned Rongsheng. No. I am innocent. I don't even know who this Rongsheng is. Stop making excuses. I have already investigated your background thoroughly. Now that we have both witnesses and material evidence, if you still dare to stay tight-lipped and refuse to confess, don't blame me for using torture. I do know Rongsheng, but I really didn't poison him. I am innocent. If you didn't poison him, then why did you try to run away? I just wanted to go back to my hometown. No. Guards, apply the torture. See if she confesses. Duke, spare my life. I am pregnant with a child from your estate. You cannot torture me. You shameless old codger. You are absolutely shameless. Dad, this Duke of Ying could be this woman's father, right? He surely could. How shameless. But Dad, this woman is pregnant with his child. Why would she run away? And why did the Duke of Ying take people to catch her in the middle of the night? I can't take it, Dad. My head is so itchy. It feels like my brain is starting to grow. Dad, I can't wrap my head around this. I'm going to the palace to see Uncle Emperor. Speak. Why did you break into the palace in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? If you can't come up with a serious reason, I will have the two of you thrown into the Imperial Clan Court immediately. Grandfather Emperor, your niece will tell you. That Duke of Ying actually took my father and me in the middle of the night to help him catch his pregnant runaway lover. Wait, you said the Duke of Ying took you to catch his pregnant runaway lover. Since when does the Duke of Ying have a lover? Wait, why would the Duke of Ying take you to? Grandfather Emperor, let you are finish. There were even two rivals on the road trying to snatch the Duke's lover. Luckily, my father and I were valiant. We helped him kill and bury his romantic rivals. Brother, could you help me analyze this? Why would his lover poison the Duke of England's estate, the servant who framed the Marquis of Dingyuan for treason? And why did that servant say that the Duke of England's lover was also his lover? Why did this lover try to run away after the servant died? Zhaoyang, you explain. Brother, that old lecher, the Duke of England, in order to steal his own servant's lover, actually poisoned that servant, Rongsheng, to death. That Wam, and was beautiful as a fairy. Brother, I forgot to see what that woman looked like. Brother, what that woman looks like doesn't matter. What matters is that to get that woman, the Duke of England unscrupulously poisoned the poor man's sweetheart Rongsheng. What about those two romantic rivals? That old scoundrel, the Duke of England, lied to me, claiming he had found a lead. It turned out he just wanted me and my daughter to go to the outskirts of the capital to help him catch his runaway lover. Unexpectedly, on the way back to the city with the captured woman, we ran into two other guys who also wanted to snatch her. I drew my sword, swish, swish, and chopped those two down. You really didn't see what that woman looked like. If she wasn't a peerless beauty, the Duke of England certainly wouldn't have done something so insane. What about the pregnancy? Didn't you say that woman's sweetheart was that servant Rongsheng? The woman said it herself, that she was pregnant with that old scoundrel's child. Perhaps that morally bankrupt Duke of England forced himself on her. Very likely. We can't let that old scoundrel get away with it. Stop. Brother, you aren't going to try to steal someone's lover too, are you? You have so many concubines in your harem. Why are you interested in someone else's lover? Brother, if you want to see what she looks like, just go to the Duke of England's estate and see for yourself. She is in the main hall of the Duke's estate right now. Dad, we've left. What if the Duke of England silences her? If your Imperial Highness dares to steal someone's lover, a deed that tarnishes our ancestors' reputation, I, your younger brother, will go to Mother and complain. Your Majesty, I am ashamed. What was your grandfather like in his day? He acted with integrity and honor, treated others with sincerity and frankness, and was righteous to his very core. He devoted his life to his country and family. How truly admirable he was. But look at you now, at your age, to actually go and poison a servant, force his lover to conceive, and commit such despicable, shaming acts. How can you live with yourself? Facing the ancestors of the Duke's estate, and how can you face your grandfather and the glorious reputation he earned? Your Majesty, I am truly baffled. When have I ever stolen a servant's lover, let alone anything about a pregnancy? I am truly being framed. The child in this woman's womb is already carrying your flesh and blood. The evidence is irrefutable. What else do you have to say for yourself? Your Majesty, please see the truth. This woman, the child this woman is carrying, is not my child. The child in this woman's womb is my illegitimate son's. Prince and Princess, you came to the palace and told His Majesty what? Why don't you say it out loud, so that I may hear it too? How can you prove, Duke, that the child is not yours, but your illegitimate son's? Exactly. How can you prove it? You old scoundrel. You wouldn't be so deranged as to use your own son as a scapegoat, would you? Even if he is your illegitimate son. A tiger doesn't eat its own cubs. I do not know this woman at all. Just like the prince and the princess. I only saw her for the first time tonight. Why must you two blatantly lie to my face and insist on slandering me? You claim the child in this woman's womb is your illegitimate son's. Your son steals someone else's lover. Is that how poorly your family is raised? If the beam is crooked, the rafters will be too. I finally understand now why there is a mountain of impeachment, memorials against the Prince of Duan and his daughter. So that is what is going on. So these two scoundrels have been living so maliciously all along. You have committed treason. Your Highness, please examine the facts. I am wrongly accused. I do not have a shred of desire to commit treason. Indeed, no treason. But you are bold enough to bribe a servant to kill me, the heir. You also like Rongsheng's lover. How is that possible? I, the dignified heir of the Duke of Ying, would never be as shameless as him. It is my father's good son who caused this trouble. He secretly bribed the servant by my side to sow discord and provoke me every day, intentionally trying to enrage me, just to ruin my reputation. The last time I fought with Xie Huaizhou, it was that servant fanning the flames, and afterwards he feignedly persuaded me to apologize, but in reality he had already set a trap. My father's good son, actually at the Dingyuan Marquise's Madame's birthday banquet, bribed that servant to poison Xie Huaizhou, intending to pin the blame on me. Fortunately, that servant bungled the job, so his wicked scheme did not succeed. You are so stupid. As the noble heir to the Duke of Ying, to be so easily led by a servant, I suppose I must step in and clean up this mess for you. But Rongsheng didn't even get it done. He lied to me saying he had, and then he blackmailed me, took the money and ran off, vanished without a trace. So you held a grudge, not only stole his lover, but poisoned him to death. I didn't steal Rongsheng's lover. Yuner and I were already in love. I suppose I must step in and clean up this mess for you. I was kept in the dark too. I had no idea that privately she was still involved with Rongsheng. As for the poisoning, I only told Yuner to give him some laxatives and have someone get back the money he extorted from me. But I truly don't know why that laxative turned into poison. I am truly innocent. I begged the princess to see the truth. So it was you who secretly swapped the laxative for arsenic and poisoned Rongsheng yourself. I did not, my lady. What I administered that day was indeed the laxative that Chen Lang gave me. As for why it became poison, I truly do not know. You two are so stupid. So it was you old fool, who swapped the laxative for poison and poisoned Rongsheng to death. In the confession the princess obtained earlier, in that deposition, Rongsheng's fellow villager, didn't he say that someone wearing a veil gave him money to cause trouble at the Shiding restaurant? So that person wearing the veil was you. Am I insane? To pay Rongsheng's fellow villager, to drag my own family's name through the mud? Who knows? What if you're doing the opposite, crying thief, while being the thief yourself? Your Majesty, I beg for your wise judgment. This matter has surely been orchestrated by someone with malicious intent. While my illegitimate son is indeed capable of such vile acts against his own kin, all of this is due to my own lax discipline. But although he is narrow-minded, he absolutely lacks the courage to poison anyone. I implore your Majesty to act in the interest of justice. Since you were the lover of that servant, named Rongsheng, did he ever tell you whether, on the day of the Marquis of Dingyuan's mother's birthday banquet, he spotted anyone suspicious near the Marquise's study, or witnessed anything out of the ordinary? Or perhaps you were in on it with Rongsheng, that the letters framing the Marquis of Dingyuan for treason and colluding with the enemy were secretly planted by Rongsheng in the Marquise's study. I am innocent. Rongsheng, he did not frame the Marquis of Dingyuan. Rongsheng told me that, on his way halfway there that day, he happened to see someone acting suspiciously, sneaking into the Marquis of Dingyuan's study, and then, out of curiosity, he leaned in closer to get a better look. Who would have thought that just as he poked his head out, he was spotted by that person? The man immediately drew a short blade, intending to kill him to silence him. Rongsheng was so terrified he turned and ran, just in time to run into the Marquise's servants passing by, who brought him to the birthday banquet. Did Rongsheng manage to see what that intruder who snuck into the study looked like? This case is getting interesting. Yes, Rongsheng said that he saw on the back of the man's neck a strange symbol. What symbol? I embroidered this based on Rongsheng's description. He said he was afraid he'd forget it after a while. So he asked me to embroider it and keep it safe. Why would anyone want to have this pattern on their neck? Are they afraid people won't find them? It looks like a tiger. A mountain cannot hold 3 tigers. Could this mastermind be trying to steal your throne? Who has such a death wish as to covet my imperial brother's throne? Don't be afraid, imperial brother. I will protect you. With me here, no one in this world can harm a hair on your head. I have already been out of the palace too long. It is almost dawn outside. Now that a clue has surfaced, the most urgent task for you two is to investigate anyone with this pattern on the back of their neck. You must track them down. Do not fail, since this illegitimate son of yours is involved. And that servant was also from your estate. You will cooperate with the Capital Inspection Bureau to find out who truly poisoned Rongsheng. Where are you going, imperial brother? Going back to get some sleep. I must rush back to the palace to preside over the morning court. Imperial brother, you haven't closed your eyes all night. You have dark circles under your eyes. Why bother with the morning court now? Come to my Prince Duan Manor and get some sleep. Once you've rested up, it won't be too late to hold the morning court. I am the sovereign of this nation. How could I be as idle as you? The morning court is a major state ceremony. It concerns the safety of the nation. How could I allow my temporary fatigue to lead to such neglect? You spend all your days eating, drinking, and playing, with no sense of duty to the country. Imperial uncle, it is fine, really. Missing 1 day of court won't bring the great Zhou to ruin. The morning court can be held any time. Why must it be now? Imperial uncle, get some sleep first. Get some rest and recharge. It is the same if you attend court in the evening. Why are these two back again? You two, what are you here for? Didn't we already finish the interrogation last night? That servant, Rongsheng, just happened to be near the Marquis of Dingyuan's study and accidentally saw the scoundrel who framed the Marquis, a traitor colluding with the enemy, sneaking around. Why are you still hounding my duke's estate like this? After I woke up from my nap, I still feel that the person wearing the veil was you, you old fool. My lord duke, you'd better search well for someone with this mark on the back of their neck. You have 20-something days left. If the case of the Marquis of Dingyuan isn't cleared up by then, I will have to take you, the mastermind behind it all, into custody. I will investigate this person with the mark on their neck. Then why have the prince and the princess come here? Naturally, I'm here to investigate your accomplices. Do you think we're as idle as you? I have a whole string of names on a list waiting for me to investigate. I wonder who the prince and princess are planning to investigate. Perhaps I can be of assistance. Do you want to know how many accomplices you have left? I certainly do. Being the scapegoat is miserable work. Give me 200 taels, and I'll give you the list. Is the prince out of his mind with greed? My daughter risked her life to record this list. Could it be that you, Lord Duke, don't think it is even worth 200 taels? Everyone on this list is a suspect. I am currently interrogating them. So many people are involved. That is right, Himp. Where did the princess get this list? That is not something, Duke, you are entitled to know. The Duke only needs to know that the people on this list are all highly suspicious. The Crown Prince is in poor health. Only the second and third princes have the standing to vie for the throne. Moreover, both of their mothers come from illustrious families. Their maternal relatives hold power and have many factions at court. The other princes either have weak maternal clans or are still too young, with no standing to meddle in state affairs. The third prince wanted to rebel, so he tried to win over the military-backed Marquis of Dingyuan. When that failed, he turned around and framed the Marquis for treason. Immediately after, he splashed this dirty water onto the second prince. Finally, he handed a bowl of medicinal soup to the already frail crown prince, quietly sending him to his grave. Prince and princess, how far along is your investigation? The Cheng family, I see. So the Cheng family is the third prince's maternal clan. No wonder, no wonder. Regarding the Marquis of Dingyuan's treason case, the Cheng family was so impatient to submit a petition, urging His Majesty to close the case as soon as possible. So it was they who framed the Marquis. The Cheng family is the third prince's maternal clan. Such an important fact, and you didn't tell me beforehand. I assumed you knew. It seems this Cheng family is the most suspicious. Let's go to the Cheng estate. I will accompany you both. You just want to go warn your accomplices. I am here to assist you both in the investigation. If that is the case, then follow along. Stop. Where did these little thieves come from? How dare you sneak into our Cheng estate and cause trouble? Seize them. Don't let those two thieves get away. Let's see where you can hide. Isn't this the fourth princess and Xie Huaizhou? What are you two doing? Sneaking around like thieves in the middle of the night. Yi Qiang, you finally arrived arrived. Let me tell you, the son of that old man from the Cheng family is actually taking a second wife. What does it have to do with you two if he is taking a second wife? Princess, do you remember that we started that theater? The plays performed there every day are all about the latest news from the various noble households in the capital. So, are you two sneaking into someone's manor to find material for your scripts? Of course, that old man Cheng is always pulling a long face, preaching to others about rules and proper conduct. Yet, his own eldest son is actually taking a second wife. With such a golden opportunity for gossip falling from the sky, we simply had to sneak into the Cheng manor to investigate. You 21, a princess, and the other a grand tutor's son. Why not just walk in through the front door? Why did you get chased out like a pair of common thieves? If that old man Cheng knew we were planning to write him into our scripts, he certainly wouldn't have let us in. Fortunately, this young master is clever. I knew his son was taking a second wife today, so I climbed over the wall and snuck in, and I managed to dig up quite a bit. Everything written on this paper is exclusive hot gossip. Let me see. The original wife of this old man Cheng's eldest son is actually the sister of the Marquis of Dingyuan. Exactly. No sooner had they heard that the Marquis of Dingyuan was thrown into prison and his whole family was put under house arrest than the Cheng family couldn't wait to strip the Marquise's sister stripped her of all control over the household, then turned around and locked her in the back courtyard. And now, even worse, they've officially elevated his mistress to the status of an equal wife. You didn't know about this, did you? And to think, a man like this is a vice minister in the Ministry of Personnel. Word is back when the eldest son of the Cheng family wanted to marry the sister of the Marquis of Dingyuan. He stood right before the old Marquise and swore on his life that he would never take a concubine. And the result, the moment the Marquis of Dingyuan fell from power, he turned right around and elevated that mistress to the status of an equal wife. Why did you follow us? Are all the people in the Cheng family this vile? I was worried about you, Your Grace. Your Grace? I am merely from a branch of the Cheng family. What does being a branch family have to do with anything? Does being a branch family mean you aren't related? If you haven't been involved in any of this, I might still be able to find a way to spare your life. Then could Your Grace spare one more person? My mother has nothing to do with the Cheng family's affairs. Don't push your luck. Sister, I'll take you both to the banquet in a moment. What banquet? Old man Cheng's 60th birthday. He didn't send an invitation to me, and that was one thing. But now he is taking an equal wife and still didn't send me an invitation. He clearly looks down on our Prince Duan's estate. Exactly. Something as significant as taking a wife. And they didn't even invite a princess like me. It is clear they don't respect the imperial family at all. Let's go find old man Cheng and settle this. I'll go along and offer my congratulations too.